News starts now with breaking news.
You may have caught the tail end of that ABC News special report. Breaking news out of Louisville, Kentucky. A grand jury indicting a former police officer in the Breonna Taylor case. People have been waiting for this decision for a long time now. 3 counts of wanton endangerment in first degree against former Detective Brett Hankison, who was fired from the department in June. Attorney General Daniel Cameron recounting how Breonna Taylor, an EMT, was killed in March after police entered her home in a drug raid. The AG says Taylor's boyfriend, who told investigators he thought they were being robbed, started firing first. The AG also says the use of force by the other 2 officers who were there was justified to protect themselves against that gunfire, which is why he says they are not facing charges. Police were searching for a suspect who was living at that home. No drugs were found. Meanwhile, Louisville's mayor announced a curfew starting at 9 tonight before that grand jury announcement in anticipation of possible reaction. Now, ahead of that curfew, we're showing you a live look at protests that are already underway in Louisville right now. They have been peaceful. A group has been gathering and building, marching down the street. No counts of today's indictment are directly related to Taylor's death. The AG saying because there was no conclusive evidence that it was Hankison's bullets that hit Breonna Taylor. So again, people have been demonstrating since the decision came down, but also over the last few months peacefully after what happened in March. And of course, we're going to stay on top of this for you and bring you a lot more as we get more details as to how this goes forward and more reaction. Well, 8 Supreme Court justices observing a moment of silence in honor of their late colleague, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They are among the many people from the public, as well as former and current government officials paying their respects today at the Supreme Court, where Ginsburg is lying in repose. And we're showing you that live right now, and you can see the rope line there. This has been a steady stream of people who've been waiting to pay their respects. You see them taking pictures, video, knowing that this is a historic time. Now, today's ceremony kicking off several days of services to honor Justice Ginsburg, all of that serving as a backdrop to the political fight brewing over who will fill the seat she has now left vacant. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the latest.
Her former law clerks lining the steps of the Supreme Court, where Ruth Bader Ginsburg served for 27 years as her coffin arrived for her memorial service. Inside, the 8 remaining justices together for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic to honor the second woman elevated to the High Court.
Of course, she will live on in what she did to improve the law and the lives of all of us. And yet, still, Ruth is gone, and we grieve.
Justice Ginsburg's death has added even more drama to an already tense and chaotic race for the White House. President Trump and Senate Republicans now set to forge ahead with plans to replace the liberal justice with just over a month to go before the election, despite claiming in 2016 that it was too close to Election Day when President Obama sought to replace the late Antonin Scalia almost 9 months before voters went to the polls. Now, Republicans insist this time it's different because the same party controls both the Senate and the White House.
I can only repeat that we have an obligation under the Constitution, should we choose to take advantage of it, to fill the vacancy.
Democrats accusing the GOP of hypocrisy.
The Republican majority will have stolen 2 Supreme Court seats, 4 years apart, using completely contradictory rationales.
And with the latest ABC News Washington Post poll showing a tight race in Arizona and Florida, both states Trump won in 2016, the president and his supporters have seized on the issue of the court.
I will soon be announcing that nominee. You're going to love it. You're going to be so happy. If you don't love it, don't vote for me.
Crossing the aisle less than 2 months before Election Day to support Joe Biden, Cindy McCain, widow of Republican Senator John McCain from the battleground state of Arizona.
Joe Biden represents to me the kinds of values and integrity and courage that we want in a president.
And Ginsburg's casket will be in public view here for the next 2 days. President Trump says that he will pay his respects to the late justice tomorrow at the Supreme Court. And then on Friday, she will lie in state at the Capitol, the first ever woman to do so, and only the second Supreme Court justice to have that honor bestowed since William Howard Taft. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, the Supreme Court.
Today, Mayor Falk Announcing his plans to move forward with a development near Petco Park. ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie has more on a partnership with the Padres to create an all-new tailgate park.
The Padres have done an incredible job of creating an atmosphere of fun, of excitement and energy at Petco Park, and they are a great community partner.
Moving forward with plans to revitalize the neighborhood adjacent to Petco Park, the mayor announced the winning proposal to transform the East Village space known as Tailgate Park into retail, housing, open space, parking, and more, with the Padres as partner. The area is bordered by 12th and Imperial, K, and 14th Streets. The city's owned the 4 blocks since the ballpark district was developed. In December, it formalized its intent to sell or lease the space. Today, Mayor Faulconer said the Padres came up with the best proposal to revitalize this part of the now popular phrase, Slam Diego. The city also held a virtual open house to get public input on the top 2 proposals and the community's priorities for the development. Padres president said today that they want the space to embody the live, work, play vision of the East Village, so much of which is already influenced by the team's presence there. Padres president Eric Grupner talked about holding neighborhood festivals and farmers markets to help create a feeling of community, turning a parking lot into a neighborhood. But about that parking, the Padres plan adds 600 more spaces than what currently exists in a multi-level structure. The cost for the project is expected to exceed $1 billion. It now goes to the city council for review and a vote. If approved, the goal is to have a final plan in place next year. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
New today, top health officials painting a clearer picture of when we may be able to expect a widespread coronavirus vaccine. The head of the CDC, Dr. Robert Redfield, providing a little more details than something he said last week. He's expecting everyone to have access to a vaccine by next July. Today, in a Senate hearing, Redfield said the process of distribution could start around the spring, but would take months to be produced and distributed to hundreds of millions of Americans. This as the FDA weighs how and when it may give pharmaceutical companies emergency authorization to speed up their processes. Well, California will stop selling gas-powered cars by 2035. Governor Gavin Newsom announcing that major commitment in the last 30 minutes in an effort to combat climate change.
That's exactly what we're advancing here today, is a strategy to address that crisis head on, to be as bold as the problem is big, to recognize and reconcile the fact that we have agency, that we can shape this debate, we can shape our future, that we're not just victims of fate.
Newsom's executive order calls for a phased-out approach that would eventually allow for only zero-emission vehicles to be sold in California by that date. He also threw his support behind a ban on hydraulic fracking by oil companies. Virginia.
Thank you, Jim. Since the pandemic started, we have seen fewer drivers on the road and more people walking and biking, and that has led to safety concerns. ABC 10 News reporter Vanessa Paz in North Park, where Sandag has come up with a solution to help keep pedestrians and cyclists safe.
The next time you hop in your car and find yourself driving through the North Park Mid-City area, you could encounter one of 18 traffic circles like this one. And when you do so, you may slow down, use a bit more caution, but that's the purpose, to increase safety and awareness. The executive director of Sandag spoke Wednesday on the status of 18 intersection makeovers spread through North Park that include roundabouts similar to this one off Landis in Utah.
It is obvious that cars and bikes don't mix well together, especially if there is speeding involved. So to overcome these, we try our best to do things like this, but also to make sure where we can separate bikes from traffic, so our residents can bike without having a fear of being hit by a car.
So far, $16 million has been dropped on the Georgia Meade Landis Bikeway project that was funded by Transnet. Construction for the new additions are halfway done, and although some neighbors aren't so keen about the new roadways,
people who want to go fast do go fast still. They still race. They have enough room to go almost straight through the circle.
Others, like 11-year North Park resident Andrea Lennon, already feel more at ease.
People can go really fast, and I do cycling and stuff too, and you just got to be really careful about, not getting hit. So I don't mind the roundabouts.
Sandak says since stay-at-home orders, amount of people riding bikes in North Park went up 12%. The executive director for Sandak said despite conflicting arguments about the amounts spent on the bikeway project,
we have the data to support investing more in the bikeway program, and I hope one day San Diego will have a connected network that's safe for our residents.
The project has been in the works since 2013. Sandak said the process included over 100 community meetings, public workshops, and hearings so neighbors could chime in. Reporting in North Park, Vanessa Paz, ABC 10 News.